Hello everyone, we're on the 5th episode of our video production for Solopreneurs series, and tonight I'm gonna be discussing 3 quick things for you, picking up from our last episode. In this episode I'm gonna talk about transition, how to create an intro and an outro, and how to properly lay down your music background and create transition for the audio as well. My name is Robert. I'm a content creator and my passion is to help you become content creators. So we're gonna jump straight to my computer and I'm gonna demonstrate to you quickly these 3 important aspects of creating your videos. So if you're doing this for the first time, it's not really difficult. So let me show you how it's done. So jumping straight to my computer right now, we're still working on the iPhone video that we filmed. I think on episode 2, just check the playlist to see that specific episode. Or I'm gonna add the link towards the end of this video. So first thing I want to emphasize on what I mentioned before on the importance of having a 3 to 5 second gap at the beginning and at the ending of your video. So if I play this video right here, okay, so you will notice there's that gap before I started talking. So the objective is to cut on the part before I start talking. So looking at this screen, you would notice this blue line. So this is my playhead. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit Command K on my keyboard, and it's gonna select the from the beginning of my clip. So I'm just gonna hit delete and removing that specific part of our timeline for our sequence. So the next thing to demonstrate the transition is I'm gonna click on the type tool here and just click anywhere on my video, and let's say let's write opening frame. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly demonstrate how you can easily create your opening frame. So what I did was I created this phrase and in this panel here, which is the essential graphics, so it gives me the options to control my text, change my font, change my font size, and everything else. So let's say I want to use a bold font for this, and using the alignment and transform tool, I'm gonna hit vertical center and horizontal center. For this part, again, I like using solid background, black colored background. So again, as you would notice, the shape is on top of the text. I'm just gonna drag this down here. Okay, now that I have this black background, I'm just gonna bring it all here. So as you would notice on my timeline, I have this opening frame clip here. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna join the two of this using the dissolve effect. So on the effects panel, you will just go to the video transition and select the deep to black, and I'm just gonna drag it joining the 2 clips here. So as you would notice, let's just fix my screen. So you would notice I have the deep to black transition combining these 2 clips. So if I play this clip, I would have this here. Okay, now that we're recording, so that's a nice clean transition here. So what Premiere Pro allows me to do is I can adjust the duration of this transition. So if I pull it towards the middle, closer to each other, so it shortens the transition. So if I play this, it's a bit faster. So let's say I want it somewhere here. Okay, saving it. So another way to control it is if you select the transition, not the clip, but the transition, and if you go to the effect controls, Yep, you can also control the duration here. So if I want it to be shorter, I would say, let's say 7. Oops, actually made it longer. Let's say put 07 here. Then my transition would be shorter. Okay, now that we're recording, so now that we have that in place, it's just a matter of, doing the outro. So I'm just gonna click on this opening clip here and bring it towards the end of my sequence. So I'm going to show you a different way of doing the transition when closing your footage. So I'm just going to play this here using the space bar again. Today's episode. Okay, so let's just cut it from here. Take this out, and instead of joining this together, let's try to do an overlap. Okay, and when I say overlap, so I'm just gonna be dragging my clip a bit, covering the iPhone recording, and then I'm just gonna put the transition on both clips. So let's see how this looks like. Today's episode. Okay, so we have a good ending frame here, and since it says opening frame here, I'm just gonna select the text and change this to closing frame, align it again, and let's say for this part I want to demonstrate another cool feature of the Essential Graphics. So let's say I wanted to use a graphic design or a graphic frame as my closing frame. So I'm just gonna go here and click the new layer here and select from file. So it's gonna allow me to find a graphic here. Let's say let's take this new end frame. So what it does is it added that graphic as a layer on our Essential Graphics here, but since we don't need the closing frame and the shape, we can just easily delete that. As you would notice, the transition was kept. So if I play it here, today's episode, so we have a nice looking and seamless transition towards the end of our clip. Okay, and lastly, I want to demonstrate how you properly add music. Okay, so in my project panel here, I'm just going to navigate on the folder where I have my music here. So I'm just going to double click this and it will show up here on my source panel. So whatever you're editing, you're going to be using the same keyboard shortcuts when you're assigning an input and an output. So let's say I'm going to start from the beginning of my clip. Okay, so what I would do is I would hit I on my keyboard. Let's say I want to extract up to this part, so I'm just gonna hit O on my keyboard, which means out. So I is in, O is out. So when I drag this icon here, drag audio, and I put it in the beginning of my clip and I play it, okay, now so the idea is, before I start talking, the music should be, fading out. In this example, if I continue to play this, okay, now that we're recording, so you would notice if you don't use any transition, there's an abrupt cutting of the background music. So you would have to go here in the audio transition. So a while ago we used the video transition, so now using audio transition, I'm just going to pull constant power and drag it here, make it a bit long and pull it towards the left. So if I play this,
Okay, now that we're recording, we have set.
Yeah, so you would notice it blends a bit before I start talking. So we're gonna do the same thing towards the end, but we're just gonna drag this or click towards the end here and hit O and then click probably a few frames behind it and click I. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in any specific order. You can start with out and then select the in. So the same manner, I'm just gonna drag it here and let's fine-tune our ending. So we're just gonna put the transition at the beginning again. So you would notice I have a marker here. So this marker signifies the point where the music stops. So the idea is, and I have to align this marker at the end of my the last frame of my graphic. So let's check this.
Wrap up today's episode.
Yeah, so that's one of the techniques that I use to close my videos. So that's the three basic principles in putting together a simple sequence that you can use when you're editing your video on Premiere Pro. So that's a very short episode for today, and I hope you're beginning to piece together the previous 4 episodes of our video production for solopreneurs. This video is designed for a beginner, so I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of technical stuff, so we're really breaking it down in small pockets of lessons, tips, and tutorials. So I hope you learned something from this episode, and if you found this valuable, please subscribe and share this video to your friends who would benefit from this. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next videos.